Alright, welcome back to American Kenpo Yellow Belt, number 5. We're going to review book set, not book set, but blocking set, and we're also going to finish you up on short 1. So let's bow in and get started. Alright, so let's start with blocking set. You learned that several lessons back. You do your salutation, hands go square. In American Kenpo, this is the meditative horse stance. Hands come to chamber, and then you do a right upward, inward, outward, downward, elbow, heel palm, back to chamber. Then the left side, upward, inward, outward, downward, elbow, heel palm, back to chamber. Now you're going to do both sides. Up, in, out, down, elbows, heel palms, back to chambers, close. And that's blocking set. So let's do it again. So from your natural stance, meditative horse stance, hands to chamber, right upwards, inwards, outwards, downwards, elbow, heel palm, back to chamber. Up, in, out, down, elbow, heel, back to chamber, doubles. Okay? So, since most of you that are watching this are probably my Kenpo students wanting to learn more about the American Kenpo system, that is how you do the first blocking set. And you should already know that as we teach it in group class. It's just up, in, out, down, back. Do the same thing. The left side, up, in, out, down, back, and then do both sides at the same time, all while from a square horse stance, beginning in with the meditative horse stance. Then from here, let's finish you up on short 1. So let's review what we've done so far up to this point. So you do your meditative horse stance, then from there you step back left, inward block, then step back right, inward block. Then from here, the attack is now coming from the 9 o'clock position. So you're going to take your right foot, step to the 3 o'clock position as they do an inward, outward. Okay? Now, for those Kenpo students that are mine, we would normally do this as a crossbody parry. They do an inward, outward, going into a fighting stance. Then from there, you're going to step back left at the same time. You're going to do an inward block, outward block. Okay? And that is the first half of short 1, which is what you should know up until this point. So let's just do that section again, and then we'll finish you off. It's meditative horse stance. Step back, left foot, inward block. Okay? Now, if you'll notice on this first section, we're not doing inwards as we cover because of what they consider is the strength of the inward block in the first place. So very rarely do you see a inward block being used in conjunction with a secondary block. Inward blocks are almost always done as a single motion when it comes to blocks, unlike the other ones that we're doing. So again, salutation or meditative horse stance, right inward block into a right neutral stance. Now, unlike when we teach a fighting stance, we teach whatever leg is forward as the fighting stance. So for my students, this would be a left fighting stance. American Kenpo, they go by what leg is back. So for them, this is a right, they do the same thing. This is a right neutral bow. So just like we do, whatever leg's forward is the same as us. So we call this as a right fighting stance. They're going to call this a right neutral bow. So salutation, step back, right inward, right neutral bow. Open the stance up, step back, left inward, left neutral bow. From here, your right foot adjusts to the 3 o'clock position so that you can face the 9 o'clock position. Inward block as you do this, and as you plant that foot down, you're going to have an extended outward block. Okay? So these two moves here, so your inward, this is going to move very quickly. Okay? So you don't really want to be planting this and then doing this. You want to be doing this as you're moving, and then as you're pivoting to face, you do your outward block. Then you're going to open up, step back left, left inward. So this block's going to go right from its point of origin right into an inward block, just like we do when we're doing blocking set, okay? Upwards, inwards, okay? Or outwards, in this case, inwards. So we're going from here right into an inward block. At the same time, we're stepping back, and we're going to do a right extended outward block, or an outward block. Now our attack is coming from the 3 o'clock position, so we're going to adjust our right foot forward 6 inches as we do go into a left neutral bow. And at the same time, we're going to do a right inward. So we're going to do a right inward followed by a left upward. Okay? So from our last position, which is here, we've done our outward. We're going to step forward with our right about 6 inches, right inward, left upward. Then the left upward is going to turn into an inward block as we step back left, pivot to a fighting stance or a neutral bow as we do our right upward block. Now from here we're going to adjust left to the 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock position because the attack is now coming from the 6 o'clock position. So we've got our upward block. As we adjust, we're going to do an inward followed by a downward, okay? So from this position here, we're doing our upward as we adjust our left foot to the 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on how you want to look at it, and we're doing our inward. At the same time, we're going to be doing our downward block. And then we're going to open up. The downward block is going to turn into an inward block. Then we do a downward block. Then we turn around and close and salutation, okay? And that's the complete short one. Now, on a note, I think I mentioned this when I first taught the first 2 sections of this. Some instructors who teach this in American Kenpo teach the chambering hand as actually an elbow strike. So, for example, when you're doing your salutation, this left hand is becoming an elbow strike as your right is becoming a block. Then as you adjust, you're going to reverse that. So the first opening stance using their interpretation is your meditative horse stance. Left elbow, right inward. Open up, left inward, right elbow. Then from here, you can do an inward, outward, elbow strike. Then from here, inward, outward, elbow strike. Inward, upward, elbow strike. Inward, upward, left elbow strike. Inward, downward, left elbow strike. Same thing, inward, downward, elbow strike. So every time the hand goes into chamber, they're teaching that as an elbow strike as opposed just the hand going into chamber, just setting it up. So your first kata, short one, is basically your plus pattern. Some people refer to this as an L pattern more because on a plus you would cross the center line going both directions, and you really don't do this. If you've noticed, when you do your here 1, 2, that foot stays right in that center. Okay? 1, 2, we stay right on that line. 1, 2. Okay? So the feet, we don't really cross back and forth. So some people call that an L pattern versus a plus pattern. So your first attack comes from the 12 o'clock position. We're going to step back, inward block going into a right neutral bow, which means your right leg is forward. So right inward, right neutral bow. You stand up, or you don't stand up. Once you get there, you just open your stance up, slide it straight back, and do a left inward as your right hand goes into chamber. Then the right foot adjusts to the 3 o'clock position so that you're now in a left neutral bow facing the 9 o'clock position. So as you do this move, you're going to do inward. So as you step inward and as you pivot to look at your opponent, you're now doing the outward. Then you're going to open your stance up, left, inward, outward. Okay? Forward, inward, upward, inward, upward, inward, downward, inward, downward, and close. Okay? Now, also on a different note, some in the American Kenpo system teach this power side and weak side in yellow belt. Some teach just the power side and then both sides in orange belt. And some just teach it in yellow and then do something different in orange. Now, also on another note, some instructors, depending on how they were taught, when they do the short one kata, they literally come into like a cat stance. So when they're doing their blocks, let's do it from this angle here. So we've just done our extended outward block. Some instructors will actually teach it as a cat stance here, then step back as you complete the motion. So then you go from here up and then cat stance up. So depending on who the instructor is and their interpretation, there's a lot of different ways this kata is done. So we now know blocking set, you now know short two, and you now know your freestyle techniques. So the rest of the lessons will be devoted to your self-defense techniques, and we will be reviewing these three requirements that you have: the freestyle, the short one, and the blocking set within the lessons. So don't forget to practice them, because I will be coming back to them and going over them step by step. So until your next lesson, keep moving forward, and great to see you in this one. Until your next one.